Okay, good. Well, I'm Ken Buck. I'm the Will County District Attorney. My wife, Perry, is a small business owner up in Greeley, and we live out in the country. So, to tell you the truth, she pays the bills. I'm not sure who we get our electricity from, but I know we get a different, we have a different company than our neighbor across the street, because when our lights go out, their lights are still on, and vice versa. But I'm really happy to be here, and I'm happy to have gotten this far in this process. Hi, Jenny. How are you? It is I think the process of running for office is a great process, because I've had the opportunity to talk to a number of business owners around Colorado. I've been in farms and factories, truck stops and coffee shops. I have listened and learned, and I hear the same thing throughout Colorado from all different groups, and that is people are concerned about their jobs, they're concerned about the economy, they are concerned about paying their mortgage, they're concerned about putting food on the table. And we have a great opportunity to deal with some of these challenges. I'm going to just talk briefly about my view. We have dealt with challenges in this country before, and I consider the challenge that we're facing right now one of the greatest that we've ever had. We have $13 trillion of debt. We have $100 trillion of unfunded liability. And we have a basic philosophical difference in Washington, D.C. The good news is that we live in America. And in my view, America is the greatest nation on earth, and perhaps in the history of this earth. And the greatness of America is not just that we are a landmass in North America. America is an idea. And it is an idea that was born out of freedom, religious freedom and political freedom and economic freedom. And we will take that idea and really, I think that's what is at the core of the philosophical difference in Washington, D.C. right now. My opponent, and by the way, I don't know if you have ever heard of the French dream or the Russian dream or the Chinese dream, but I haven't. We are somewhat unique in the fact that we still dream, and we still have this great uncharted land in the West that we can still expand to. My opponent is an individual who believes in the fact that government can solve all problems. The federal government can solve all problems. I am approaching issues from a much different vantage point. I think that small business, and communities solve problems far better than the federal government. And we can talk about education. We can talk about the finance reform bill. I met with some bankers yesterday, and this just struck me, and I thought you'd find this somewhat interesting. But the Federal Reserve Act that was passed in 1913 was 31 pages. The Glass-Steagall Act passed in 1933, 37 pages. The Interstate Banking Efficiency Act, 61 pages. Sarbanes-Oxley, 66 pages. The Financial Reform Bill, the Dodd-Frank bill that was recently passed, 2,319 pages. Now, folks, I'll be glad to answer questions about the cap and trade bill, but I'm going to guarantee you, you won't know what's in it. You'll know what you hear about on TV, but you won't know what's in it. The health care bill that was passed, I was meeting yesterday with a group of business people. They were furious because of the 1099 regulations that were in the health care bill. The way they tried to bring down the costs of the health care bill, to throw student loans into government, and to suggest that government will make the same profit running a student loan program as a private bank would make. Now, how is that common sense to anyone in this country? But that's part of this philosophical difference that we are faced with. And we are really at a crossroads. We are either going to decide that the federal government is going to run the marketplace, or we are going to decide that private business, and we have to go one way or the other. There is a fork in the road. We cannot continue to go down the path that we're going, where we continue to print more money and push a burden onto our children and grandchildren. Michael Bennett was born in Washington, D.C., and believes that the solutions to this country's problems come from that city. I was not born there, and I don't believe that. I live up in Weld County. Weld County is one of 4 counties in the United States of America that has no county sales tax and no debt. And in fact, Weld County has well over $100 million of in a rainy day fund. And it doesn't rain very much in Weld County. You know, it is a clear contrast, and it applies to just about every issue that I believe comes up. In 2010, we have this great opportunity to return to the founding principles of the creators of this country. We have an opportunity to make sure that limited self-government has a place in this world, and it's America. I ask for your support for my campaign. I know many of you are in rural, or at least do business in rural areas, and if you have one of these on your car, there is a rumor going around that you won't get a speeding ticket. So I offer this to you at any time. Can I ask you some questions from folks? And by the way, I apologize for the way I'm dressed. I have to be at a barbecue tonight in Pueblo for the state fair. And I only get to dress once during the day. I can't run back to Greeley each time, so I have to figure out what the most appropriate dress is for this and a Rotary lunch and meeting with some business people in the afternoon and a fair. So I didn't wear a tie. It wasn't meant as any disrespect to the group.
Yeah, no disrespect at all. You'll see a lot of folks with no ties on. And by the way, as a fellow lawyer, I'm a little worried about this truth in advertising on that campaign sticker.
I said it was a rumor.
Well, Mr. Buck, thank you very much for coming. It's a great opportunity for us to have a conversation with you. My name is Don Kaufman. I'm the Vice President of Sangre de Cristo Electric Association, which is headquartered in Buena Vista. I live in Westcook, which is a tiny little town in Custer County.
I love it.
We're still there. Our co-ops in Colorado, our electric co-ops, provide service to over 600,000 families and businesses. So we're vitally interested in legislation in Washington. And you mentioned in passing the cap and trade. Could you expand on that a little bit? Do you support cap and trade?
Let me answer a few issues. First, I am not a lawyer. I'm a prosecutor. I put people in jail and make your community safer. Lawyers get people out of jail and make your communities less safe. Secondly, I do know where West Cliff is. I went there for the first time about a year ago, and my wife was with me, and that was the first place of about 12 that we have decided to retire to in Colorado. It is absolutely beautiful. Bob Senderhoff? Yeah, Bob has a real estate place there and is helping me there. The second place was Pagosa Springs. Anybody here from Pagosa Springs? Absolutely. If you haven't been there, go to Pagosa Springs. There are so many beautiful places, and it's really the neatest thing about running for office is how many wonderful people you meet and how many beautiful places there are in Colorado. When I take my kids on vacation, I take them to Pagosa Springs. I take them to places that are just gorgeous in this state. They're not quite international travelers yet, but too bad. I am opposed to cap and trade for a few reasons. One, I don't think the science is settled yet on the man-made global warming. And I have had this discussion with a lot of people, and I have done my best with the time that I've had to read on the issue. And I just don't think it's settled. And I think for far too long in this country, we have based public policy on bad science. If you remember back to the 70s, and some of you have the same hair color that I have, you'll remember the nuclear energy scare. We couldn't have nuclear energy because there'd be a mushroom cloud over every city in America. Now the environmentalists are starting to move back towards nuclear energy. It is a clean source of energy, and we should be looking at it. The French, that bastion of conservatism, France, creates 80% of its energy, has reprocessing facilities for its nuclear energy, and they have moved forward in a way that we would have been intelligent at least to look at in the marketplace. The biggest problem I've got with cap and trade isn't just that I'm not sure where the science is and why should we go down a path when we're not sure where the science is. The biggest problem I've got is, again, a philosophical problem. I don't believe government should be in the business of picking winners and losers in the energy sector. I don't know whether coal 10 years from now will be a much cleaner source of energy or not. I don't know whether natural gas will be a much cleaner source of energy than coal or other sources of energy. I do know that technology is often unpredictable and will create opportunities in the energy sector that we just aren't aware of right now. And so for government to sit there and say, you've got to go towards this source of energy is wrong. The marketplace determines what sources of energy we should use. The government has a role in defining environmental standards. I absolutely believe that. But it should be, those definitions, those standards should be based on good science. And that's what we should base, and that's where the government should set the standard, and then the government should get out of the way. One of the huge issues that we are facing in this country is a trade deficit. And if you look back 100 years, when this country was industrializing, one of the huge advantages we had over many parts of the world were we had less expensive sources of energy. We also had a transportation system that let us get our products to market. We also had an education system that was second to none. We had a lot of advantages in this country. We have lost many of those advantages, and we are losing our manufacturing base in this country. And if we don't bring that manufacturing base back, I don't know how we get out of $13 trillion of debt. We're not going to raise taxes. And we can't cut the entitlements that we have created in this country without an uproar. And no politician, elected official, or candidate wants to do those things. So what we've got to do is we've got to grow our economy. We've got to bring jobs back to this country. And the way to do it, part of the way to do it is, frankly, finding clean and plentiful sources of energy. And I live in Weld County. We've got tons of energy. The natural gas that we have in Colorado, the oil that we have in Colorado, the coal that we have in Colorado, but the renewables that we have in Colorado, all are just tremendous. And hopefully we get to the point where we develop those resources. They would certainly bring jobs to Colorado right away. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.